Hey everyone. This month we want to focus on some of those lifelong discipleship and faith growing skills. So, things like prayer daily and teaching your kids how to pray, and that it doesn't have to be formal, it doesn't have to be fancy words. God just wants to have a conversation with them, that back and forth exchange. And then also that they need to have time in the Word, right? They need time where they are taking in what God has said to us and about us and for us. And they need that time in the Word. And of course, that looks really different for the littles and the bigs, right? So, our littles, we're going to be reading them Bible stories, focusing on how God cares for them. And then as they get older, moving into ideas about learning God's stories, our history as a religion, as a people, and then moving into what God says about them and what their identity is and who He wants them to be, who He's calling them to be, how He calls us to respond in this world and behave in this world and treat others. So that time in the Word is really vital. Worship is a big skill to build for lifelong faith. And that can look, again, very different for different ages. It might mean music in the car at certain times, on certain days, is always worship music. It means pulling them into the worship section at service. They're never too young to do that, ever. It can mean a lot of different things for different people. How do you worship? Some people worship through music, some people worship through art, some people worship through time they spend in nature, appreciating nature. There are a lot of ways to worship God. And we talk a lot at Impact about living lives of worship. So, what it looks like to treat everything that we do as an act of worship for our Savior and our Creator. So, passing that on to our kids, teaching them how to do that too. And then serving others. Jesus was a servant leader, and that's how He calls us to behave in this world. He calls us to serve and to connect to people and to show them His love for them and to lead them through service. And then also that idea of community and accountability, because no one is made to be completely alone, and none of us is perfect. We all make mistakes, and we all need people in our lives that can speak into our lives and help us with guidance and help us with accountability. If I have given myself a goal of whatever, right? It could be spending a certain amount of time in prayer. It could be changing a behavior that I've been trapped in. It could be a lot of different things. And if I know that my friend who I trust to love me and care about me is going to ask me if I have done those things, there's a level of accountability there. There's more motivation to get it done. And that is something that can be extremely valuable in our lives, throughout our lives. And so we want to make sure that we are setting our kids up to be able to move on with their faith, to stay in their faith, and to grow in their faith beyond our influence, beyond the years that we're here to help them with those things and to provide those things for them. Something I've heard a lot from God about in the last several months is that He wants His people to have independent faith. That if something were to happen and we couldn't attend church or gather together or hear from our friends for a while or any of those things, that we would still be able to connect with Him and to grow in our relationship with Him and in our faith and in our strength in what we believe. And so that's something that's really vital that we help our kids with. I think that culture talks a lot about teaching our kids life skills, like when they leave, can they put gas in their car? Can they go to the grocery store, make a list, stick to a budget, buy meals, not just snacks, right? Can they cook a meal? Can they do their laundry? We need to approach our faith skills with our kids the same way that we approach life skills with our kids, because that is equally, if not more, important for them. That they are able to continue in this faith without us simply giving it to them, that they can do it on their own. So each week, rather than trying to fix everything at once, we're going to focus on one thing. And some of these things may be things that you already have down pat. That's great. Continue in that. Or pick something different that's not on the list to work on that particular week. So each week we'll have one thing that we focus on. And the first week I want you to focus on praying with your kids. They need to know that they can talk to God anytime. Anytime they need guidance, anytime they're happy, anytime they're sad, always. They need that connection with the Father. So that first week, I want you to focus on prayer. And again, each week we'll add something to the list. And you guys have to decide as a family how that looks for you. How are you going to do it? How often are you going to do it? Those little details aren't as important as just the intentionality and the commitment to do something. So don't let yourselves get overwhelmed. Choose an attainable goal. And even if it's not where you want it to be eventually, do that baby step to get it started. Because you can always get these things started and then increase as we learn, right? Get bigger and better as we go. I love you guys. I'll see you soon.